Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, today we're going to continue the series on the MiSTer FPGA project, and we got some fun updates from Taki, Udon, and Retro Remake today in regards to SuperStation One. Because just yesterday, Taki, Udon uploaded a video showing off a lot of the new user interface, including the SuperStation One running. So we're going to be going over a lot of that footage, talking about the details I do know, and seeing when SuperStation One might be ready to ship. And just so you know, Taki, Udon, and Retro Remake did have to shut down their offices for some days because a large tsunami basically went all the way across China. But I was chatting with Taki and he said that no one was really hurt in that, so that is definitely a positive. But you'll see here Taki is showing off the actual SuperStation One. This is still a prototype, and he does mention that the power button wasn't working on this one the way it should. But again, this is still prototype stage, basically getting really close to that finished product, something they had around the offices that he brought home during that tsunami. And just seeing this thing in its case is a ton of fun. And he did say he was going to do a secondary video on the dock as well for SuperStation One. That's the disc reading portion. That'll be coming in a different video. But honestly, it's been so much fun to follow along with this project the entirety of the way, from its initial announcement and concepts, kind of those CG or otherwise rendered videos, to something like this, a tangible product that you can take a look at. And I really appreciate that Retro Remake make this entire process very open, from all of the PCB samples to the renders to the mock-ups of what a user interface or a GUI would look like on MiSTer FPGA. We've seen this thing from inception basically just being rendered in an image all the way to the point in time where we're basically getting ready to do a review on this thing on the channel hopefully shortly. And I do appreciate that, because even back in April 16th we were talking about stuff like the Mr. Pi shipping updates, how those were coming along with all the SuperStation One updates. So no one has been in the dark about anything, and even back in March 17th, which feels like a lifetime ago now, we were getting demos of the graphical user interface with all of the box art, and that is definitely something that people have been asking for on the MiSTer FPGA side of things. Maybe just a little bit cleaner, a little bit more console-like experience, and that's definitely what SuperStation One is delivering, not only in its form factor but in its UI as well. So taking a look at Taki's footage here, anytime it's on screen you will see that I have credited at the bottom right hand corner. Basically it's still just a MiSTer FPGA. Yes, it's going to have a new graphical user interface if you so choose to use it, but if you just want to stick to the original MiSTer interface, that should be there as well. And trust me, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but honestly I don't mind it. It does the job, it does exactly what it says on the side of the box, nothing more, nothing less, and it really is a very efficient way to do things. And with custom wallpapers, really you can make it look like whatever you want. And just so you know, this is just a portable screen running the actual SuperStation One image. This is not like anything like a handheld that Taki Udon's been talking about before you get confused in the comments down below. But you'll see here, at least off the top, it is running. It is a MiSTer FPGA, even if it's called a SuperStation One. So that is definitely a very promising thing. And we've gone through all of the different updates as well when there was those bare unpopulated PCBs with all of the footprints for stuff like the Cyclone 5, the RAM, all of the different power ports and video ports and everything else you would need. And this is the area in which I get super interested in the actual development process. The best part is as well, Taki, Udon, and Retro Remake have been listening to the people on Twitter saying that they would love a snack port that didn't go through the PlayStation 1 controller and memory card ports on the front, and that's exactly what you're getting here. The ability to use snack on any console that would allow for it, that there is an adapter made for it by Retro Remake. And that's just a really nice thing, listening to fans, listening to buyers, and giving them feature sets they want. I really do appreciate that openness to be willing to actually take a look at what people might want to see. As we go through the actual user interface here, you'll see that there's different ways to look at it. You can get some wallpaper when you're hovering over the actual game image, and these are all very nice high resolution assets. Now I'm sure you're going to have to actually stock the SuperStation One with your own box art when it does come in via some sort of scraper. It's not going to ship with this because honestly you'll be putting your own games on, whether through the dock or just via files, but it looks absolutely awesome, and it does just enough to give it a little bit more of a shine as far as the graphics are concerned without going way over the top, because this black screen here probably would be the way I would use it. Just enough info to understand what's going on, but not too much color and not too much craziness that I find it distracting. And it's definitely come a long way from some of the initial samples that Taki Udon uploaded on Twitter where you would see a user interface, but it definitely looked a little bit janky. And that's not a knock against it, it was just kind of a test version of that UI, just trying to get anything running without it actually looking that pretty. But again, we've seen this entire development process both on the software and hardware side, and this is why I think people have been most excited about SuperStation One. It gives them that MiSTer FPGA in a full console format, having all of the cables basically coming out of the back or sides, nothing out of the front outside of controllers, and it gives you this user interface as well. And he was also talking about all of the different box art, how it's ingested in, and once it actually loads up once, how quick it is to actually switch from one cover image to the other. I think that definitely is an important thing, and so far what I'm seeing in the footage is promising, because you don't want to hover over a game for like 10 seconds waiting for that box art to actually populate. Now if you have like 800 games in there, I'm not sure how fast that would be. Would have to test it when it actually comes in, but so far everything looks really good here, and I like the fact that they have program in scrolling text as well, so if the name of the game is longer than the actual aspect ratio is going to give you, you do have that available so you can scroll a bit. Honestly, you can kind of tell what it is anyway, even without those last few characters. But as Taki goes through the scrolling here, you can see once everything's loaded in once in the slow version, everything is then just going to fly through. So I think it definitely is a really fun thing. But for me personally, box art, I can take it or leave it. But leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. Just one of those things I always have issues where one won't ingest correctly and then I have a blank space and it drives me nuts and I have to fix it. Now additionally, we've also seen stuff like N64 cart loading, kind of just a party trick at this point in time, but maybe in the future SuperStation One will support this, or maybe in the future there could be some sort of cart reading SuperStation One, because obviously Taki Udon and his team have the ability to really pivot up the MiSTer operating system and underlying software to make it do new and exciting things, so I'm sure that is maybe at least being considered for the future. And as we go back into the footage here, again, you can see that they're launching the menu via the actual scripts right now, but Taki states that they're trying to basically make this automatic. So again, the software is being adjusted, and don't forget this, just like MiSTer FPGA, is probably going to be a living ecosystem. You are going to update the operating system, you'll probably get improvements, just like you see on any sort of modern console when you do those software updates. Things can and will change, and for the better. So it'll be interesting to take a look at this thing out of the box in the initial review, but also maybe even stopping back for a 6-month or 1-year update, kind of talking about how that software has gotten better. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me so far this UI, how you feeling about it. I really do like it, and if you're wondering, yes, that black screen can become a different color. We'll do over that just a little bit later on in the video. But I am just excited to get this thing on my table to be able to take it apart, show you guys everything on the inside, and review everything on the outside, because it is just fun for me to take a look at the hardware, even if this is still the same Cyclone V. Seeing it laid up in a completely different PCB on a custom sort of configuration is awesome, because the MiSTer Pi, yes, is a clone of the DE10, but it does have its own engineering differences, but this really is a fully bespoke board, just like you'd see on something like the Multi-System 2. And then Taki Udon also goes through all of the Bluetooth controller pairing, and I love this menu here. You can see that it's looking for it, and it's trying to pair controller 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is something I think definitely will benefit MiSTer FPGA as an ecosystem and users, because I do get a lot of questions still how to pair Bluetooth or Wi-Fi controllers. Now this is obviously just the Bluetooth adapter, not the Wi-Fi, but actually having this menu here versus trying to pair something like a Bluetooth controller with an adapter via the main MiSTer menu, I think is going to make a lot more people a lot more successful pairing their controllers. And when I say there's a metric shit ton of controllers we can use on MiSTer FPGA, 100% mean it. Not everything in this image is going to be something that is going to be Bluetooth, but SuperStation One, between the snack port, between the PlayStation 1 snack ports and everything else, I can't think of a controller you're not going to be able to use on this. And I do this little handheld he has here as well. Again, not the MiSTer FPGA handheld, that screen is running off the SuperStation One, but you can see you can kind of play around in the menu, and you also have that background color adjustability as well, so you can kind of just give it a solid color. I would highly assume you can probably do a wallpaper as well, but I haven't seen one, so I don't want to say that that's something you can do until I actually know for sure. But as soon as the unit arrives for a review, I'll be able to go over everything, and you guys can leave me some preemptive questions down below of what you'd want to know about the operating system, about the hardware, before it actually comes in, because usually I do a first review and then I do another follow-up a week later, kind of answering your questions. But just leave them down below and you tell me what it is you might actually want to see, because I would be curious, that way I can kind of work it in the initial review in and of itself. But this is definitely exciting. You can tell SuperStation One is very close. I'm sure Retro Remake lost some time because of that tsunami going through China, but these things definitely do happen. But I just, again, can't wait to take a look at this thing, and I love that from start to the shipping date, whenever that may be, we've been able to follow through the entire process of how SuperStation One was actually made, and that's been great. It was the exact same thing on the MiSTer Pi as well, from initial announcement all the way through all the different photographs to the initial shipping batch, all the way to, I think they're at batch 5 now. But this is definitely going to be exciting. There's going to be SuperStation Ones under the TV by the end of the year, and I'm sure a lot sooner than that, and I can't wait to review it. But that is the current news. The UI is there, the hardware is working, and hopefully sometime soon we'll find out a date on when this thing's actually going out the door. But short of that, like I said, leave any questions down below for that initial review, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.